Islander. How did you get involved and what drew you to?
Well, I was breeding horses when I was about 14, 15. We had a farm, you know. But then I heard Little Richard, and that was it for me. Away I went.
Would you get a silver guitar? And
yeah, the usual stuff, you know, standing in front of the mirror with a tennis racket, right?
Yeah, well, one thing that interests me about rock and roll, whether it's the Beatles, who come from a working class background, or it's Donny Osmond, who's now trying to reposition himself, who comes from a sort of upper middle class background, is that there's nothing inherently in your background or their background which would have given any indication, say, in your...
Yes, you can't pigeonhole it, can you? It
No.
must drive people crazy.
No, but no, because you think, well...
The only pigeonhole is that you like that kind of music. And what's wrong with that? I mean, people like different colours of suits. You know, I mean, people like to paint their house a different colour. It doesn't matter. You don't say that he's one of them pink house people.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. We're just more visible from further away, that's all.
But it seems to me that heavy metal, more than any other genre of rock music, it terrifies parents. I mean, the way you look terrifies them. Your concerts terrify their music.
Elvis Presley terrified parents. If your parents like it, there's something wrong with it.
No, but you have your music, a lot of your music has a political content, and a lot of it is about the defiance of authority. It's about...
well, what else is this to defy?
Huh? No, but parents don't want authority defied, and then they resent the fact that...
Some of them did when they were kids.
Yeah, I suppose that is true.
Civil rights marches was defying authority.
That's right. I know, but they think there's something...
So is the South African thing.
I know,
now.
I'm trying to get you to admit the obvious, which there is something in heavy metal music that you don't find, say, in country western music or pop music in general, that is subversive.
I don't agree.
That parents see... Well, I think so. I mean,
that parents see as such, but I don't agree that it's true.
And as Cardinal Cook sees as subversive.
We're easier targets because we look rough, right?
Well, yes, you look...
We look hard and nasty and mean, but that doesn't mean you can't have a brain.
Right.
For God's sake, you know, I mean, what about Norman Schwarzkopf? He looks real nice and sweet, doesn't he?
Listen, we got to take a break, and we'll be back in a minute with Michael Schnapp of Epic Records and Lemmy right after these messages.
Shout Stick lets you pre-treat tough stains today.
Throw my hands back and
shout them out next wash day.
kick my feet on it.
Shout Stick starts working right away. It saturates tough stains, penetrates clean through to keep stains.
There's something in your eyes that you ain't ever gonna learn that you get it. So take it, yeah, take it. Come burn this body down.
I'm talking tonight with Lemmy, who's the terrific singer from the heavy metal group Motorhead, and with Michael Schnapp from Epic. Who is it? From Epic Records. And you have I know you got a terrific new album out called 1916. Why don't you tell me a little bit how you got the idea for that music? I know it's in part anti-war.
1916 is about the Battle of the Somme in the First World War, the first day of that battle. 19,000 English kids were slaughtered like cattle before midday for nothing, because their officers told them to march forward walking instead of running, and that everything would be fine, you know, that the artillery had cut the wire and they could just march in and occupy their positions. The Germans were downstairs in bunkers and they just came up with the machine guns, set them up and mowed them down. 19,000 of them before 12 midday.
But why? I mean, I agree, it was a terrible thing, but why did you pick? I thought originally that the reason you picked the year 1916 was because I kept thinking of Yeats's poem Easter 1916 about the Irish Rebellion.
The Irish Rising, no.
Yeah. I was wondering why, I mean, given your generation, why was it World War I rather than, say, Vietnam, or rather than World War II or Korea? I mean, something that more impinges upon...
yeah, the now thing, yeah. Well, Vietnam and Korea were more or less American wars, more than English wars, so I don't know so much about them, really. And I'm more into history than I am about current conflicts, you see, so My real area of knowledge is the Second World War. I know a lot about that. You want to know about that? Ask me. And Nazi Germany, you know, because I'm interested in that as a phenomenon. You know, a non-smoking, non-drinking, vegetarian slaughtered a quarter of the world. He had nice short hair too. Any questions? You know?
Let me ask you, I know you, I think, in this fall are going to be going on tour in the States, and
Yeah.
you live in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I wanted to direct the question to you. When you're, tell me what it's like going on tour, when you're taking a band on tour and you're promoting a new record. And
Me personally, I don't go out on the road for
no, but the band, how
time,
things like that are set up and how it's arranged and how you protect the
It's
truth.
a big old nightmare, isn't it?
Here's for you.
Absolutely. It comes down to a lot of people. You got managers involved, booking agencies, promoters, rec company. It's a lot of stuff. What we've done is we've packaged together 5 bands that are going to go out and play sheds, outdoor places of around 10,000 seats this summer.
God.
And it's all sponsored. It's Sony Music, and it's Judas Priest, Alice Cooper, Motorhead, Dangerous Toys, and Metal Church.
It seems to me that heavy metal is very much macho, male-dominated, right? It's like bikers. I mean, there's this macho male. It's almost antediluvian.
Or rednecks.
Are there any? Yeah, rednecks. Are there any?
Are there Willie Nelson fans out there too?
Pretty macho.
Are there any female heavy metal bands?
Several.
Are there?
A band called Vixen, a band called Girls School. What else we got?
Cycle Sluts
Cycle
from Hell.
Sluts from Hell, who's just been on tour with us.
Cycle Sluts from Hell.
Cycle Sluts from
It's
Hell.
more of a description than
That sounds really up my alley.
You don't want to hear their personal names individually. And, well, you know, why not, you know? And there's always been women in rock and roll.
There's
It would be boring otherwise, come on.
And the most popular were the Ronettes, who wore the most, like, submissive, I mean, tight skirts and piled up hair, you know, and all that.
I knew Jim Morrison, of course,
Jim,
last
yes.
2 years of his life. And I'll tell you, when I first met him was at a party down in Soho, and he was really
Messed up.
and he had his pants down, and various
He did that quite a bit, actually,
various
yeah.
guests were giving him fellatio. And when I had found, I don't know, it was kind of
It's the
charming.
most fun you can have without laughing.
That's right. But I was very shocked. No, I guess I wasn't shocked. When he went away to Paris.
Envious cover it?
No, I mean, I wasn't shocked by that. When he went away to Paris to pull himself together, to pull his life together, I thought he would do it. And that he would die of an overdose, that Janis Joplin would, and Jimi Hendrix. What is there about the particular milieu of rock and roll that leads to such self-destructiveness on the part of the talent?
I wouldn't say it was just rock and roll. It's just that you hear about our people because we're in the eye of the media. And, I mean, you're more liable to hear about a celebrity, whatever, than you do about some kid on the block who does it. You know?
A lot of people die every year, and unfortunately, if you're famous, they're going to peg you out and put you on the front page of the Post.
More people die in road accidents, but they haven't stopped selling cars.
Well, you make a point, but I think you're also avoiding the point.
No, I'm not avoiding the point.
I think-
Very few of the people in rock and roll die that way. But the ones that do are always the most outrageous. Therefore, you hear more about them. And you always hear about all the build-up to it, too. You hear about every piece of their lives. But you don't find out about some kid who got in a car, drove it for 5 years, and then finally drank too much one night and killed 16 people.
Right, right.
So it's not a fair thing to say that a lot of people die in this more than they do in any other sphere of existence, because it's not true.
But don't you think much of that...
Film stars, same thing.
Pardon?
Sorry, film stars are the same.
Film stars are the same thing, exactly. Marilyn Monroe and so on.
But nobody stopped them making movies.
Well, that's true. Listen, I want to get back to this when we get back. We'll be back with Motorhead in a few minutes after these messages.
Quick, think of everything you know about burgers.
Well,
It's a group called Firehouse, I'm told. I've never heard of them. I never heard of them. I don't know who the hell
Me
they
too.
are. I'm here talking with the heavy metal group Motorhead,
Boogity
Lemmy, Michael Schnapp from Epic Records, and we're going to go now to South Carolina to take a call from Scott. Scott, you're on the air.
Hello, Lemmy.
Hi.
What's up, dude?
Dude. Oh, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Why did you get into rock and heavy metal? Was it for the fame, money, or women, or what?
Women mostly.
That's what-
Yeah, we used to, after school was over and at the end of the term, we used to take guitars to school, and I didn't have one, and I noticed that the guys who did have them, all these girls would go and stand around them, didn't matter if you could play it or not. So I thought, well, that looks like a good idea, right? So I got a guitar, you know, and sure enough, there it was. So ever since then, anybody who tells you they didn't get into rock and roll because of the women is a liar, okay?
Well, Michael, why did you get into rock and roll on the other end of the...
For the men.
For the men.
Thanks, babe. Hey,
You're so sweet.
I just always like aggressive music that has like a real passion, a real feeling, and a lot of the metal that I listen to is like that. A lot of hardcore, a lot of the old punk, a lot of the real good 60s rock and roll. You can tell that the people who were writing it and performing it really meant it. I think that's what really communicates. If you mean it, then it's really worthwhile.
Liza Minnelli.
Liza Minnelli, right. We're going to go to Virginia.
she
Val,
means it.
you there? You're on the air.
Hi, Lemmy. How you doing?
So far, so good. How are you?
I'm wondering, are you coming out with a new album after 1916 anytime soon?
Well, it
1991.
won't be that soon because we only just did this one, but we'll be coming out with lots of new albums as the years go by. Incidentally, you must be very pretty. All the girls in Virginia are.
But they're coming out with a live video soon to hold you over
that's
between
right.
the record.
We have a live video, and it comes out on June the
4th.
4th.
What's it called?
It's called Everything Louder Than Everything Else.
It's by?
Me and the guys.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Okay? And I hope that answers your question, Eamon.
Lemmy, how did you pull this group together? And you've been connected with other groups before. How did Motorhead happen?
Oh, it's all accidental, really. You know what I mean? It's you get a bunch of guys, and at the beginning you all want to play the same stuff, and then one of them decides that the personal problems outweigh his desire to play with you, and he drops out. Another guy comes in. You know, we've had this lineup for about 7.5 years.
Well, that's a long time.
Seems like.
We're to go to Tennessee to Doug. Doug, you're on the air.
Hi, Lemmy, Michael, how's it going?
Hey, dude.
I wanted to know what your musical influences were, and at what age did y'all start playing music?
I started playing when I was about 14. My influences were Little Richard, Eddie Cocker and Buddy Holly, the Yardbirds, the Beatles, all of them people, you know. Actually, any kind of music that you hear influences you in one degree or another, either to not play it or to play it, or to use something from it.
I just want to go back, if I can, just, and I don't want to be defensive, just to drugs. As you know, there's a terrible drug epidemic, not just in this country, but in Europe, but in this country, it's
pretty well
terrible.
worldwide, actually.
And do you think that your industry, and I'm talking to both of you, I do know as a fact, for example, in Hollywood, I don't know if the practice stops in contracts with leading stars. I don't want to name them, but they had to provide so much cocaine, $50,000 a day or whatever in cocaine as part of the contract. I know rock bands, record companies would provide drugs to rock bands.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. Wait a minute, I just want to make a point. And to the
They didn't
general...
give me any. I'll tell you that.
But to the general public, rock and roll, to a degree films, but much more rock and roll, was seen complicit in the celebration of drugs. That's to get high, to get blasted was somehow good and right. And
it was correct of the film industry too, but you didn't hear about it because the studios kept it quiet. Right? I mean, if somebody was having an abortion in the film industry, you'd never hear about it, you know, because the studio gathered around, went to a private nursing home and had the thing taken out, you know. I mean, it's not that, I think it's just that rock and roll is more obvious and more honest.
Now, do you think it was, looking back on it, I mean, assuming the practice isn't there anymore, do you think it was right? You think that your industry, I'm talking to you, Michael, has some complicity in the death and the sickness of these people who may have taken...
We all do, because to be on drugs, right, there's different kinds of drugs too. You can't just say drugs, right, because it's not fair. There are several kinds of drugs, and there's only one that really kills you for sure. I don't know about crack, I've never had that. That's since my time, you know. But heroin was the one that stopped my generation, stopped it in its tracks, you know. And heroin was evil, you know. I mean, heroin was the one that wasn't fun. Heroin was the one that put you in pain if you didn't have it. None of the other drugs did that. I never saw anybody die on any other drug but heroin, in my own personal experience, right? And I never did that because my girlfriend died on it when she was 19, right? Oh, there's been a lot more since then. A good 300 of my friends are dead on heroin, right? But like, you can't say that it's rock and roll espousing it because it isn't true. People always want somebody to blame for everything. Society makes drugs. You can't say that the Colombians who manufacture cocaine are rock and rollers, can you?
No.
But they sure are sending it over here. Who are they sending it with? Rock and roll bands are carrying it? Forget it, you know. Society is making drugs and society is taking drugs, and it's not any small section you can point a finger at. It's people want drugs because they feel great. That's why they do them. There's no other reason. And as long as people will pay the money to feel great, people will give them drugs. And it's as simple as that. And you cannot point the finger at nobody.
Well, listen, I just want to make one remark. We've got about 30 seconds left. Is that I think
I'm not wearing a watch.
I just think that it's people like yourselves, because young people look up to you, young people copy you, young people admire you, and you have great influence over them, more than politicians or preachers or their parents. And I think you have a special responsibility to them, and I appreciate what you said.
Well, if they copy me, they'll be all right. I'm 45 and I don't even look at it.
Thanks for being here. Good luck with 1916. Watch Talk Live tonight at 10 p.m. when Dr. Judy Kuriansky will host. Her guests include comedian Rhonda Handsome and chanteuse Phoebe Legere. Listen, thanks again. Come on again. Good night, everybody. Thanks.